Hey, Richard Bryce here, Tennis Hacker. In this video, we're going to be looking at a very simple but really important concept, which is kind of respecting the ball that's coming towards you and moving either forwards or backwards appropriately. This is something that I'm working on in my own game at the moment. Now, I'm naturally a right-handed player, but I'm relearning to play left-handed. And I've made good progress with my left hand. I'm at around a 4.5 level. There's some things that I do well, and there's some things that I don't do quite as well. And moving back quickly and moving forwards quickly is definitely one of the things that I'm not doing as well as I need to at the moment. So as you can see in this video, I've got a really simple setup. I've just got my ball machine set to random, so it's either randomly feeding short or deep, and the deep ball is very deep. It's kind of quite spinny, it's bouncing almost right on the baseline, so I'm having to move back very quickly to deal with it. And basically what I'm doing is I'm training my ball recognition. I'm trying to program my brain to recognize the ball quickly, so that if it goes short, then I step in and try and take the ball on, and if it goes deep, I move back quickly. It's all about getting your feet set up in the right place for the shot. If you don't get that part right, then the chance of hitting a good shot go down dramatically. So this is obviously one of the big things that I need to work on. And as you can see, I've got a little bit of a delay on the short ball. Often I'm not immediately stepping forwards. I'm kind of stuttering a little bit first, and then on some of the deep balls, I'm not quite getting back quickly enough. In a moment, I want to take a look at the footwork patterns because it's a really important part of it. I also want to talk a little bit about the timing because that's really the other crucial thing for hitting high quality shots. But before I do, I want to quickly let you know about a free training that I've created for you that's going to show you the exact steps that I used and the exact process that I've used to become a 4.5 player with my left hand. So if you'd like to check that out, the link will be down in the description. So let's take a look at the footwork pattern and the timing for the short forehand. So it's going to be a neutral stance, single leg pivot. So there's the neutral stance, stepping in, and the single leg pivot is this back leg following through as a counterbalance, just pivoting through. So this is a fairly standard footwork pattern that people tend to use. When we look at the deeper ball, that's going to be a less common footwork pattern in a moment. But what I want you to notice here is that I didn't actually do a good job. I'm trying to step forwards as quickly as I can to recognize the ball so I can step in and punish it, but I've actually taken a little bit of a back step. So that's the thing that I'm working on not doing. But in terms of the timing, we've got two parts to it. You want to think about it in two parts. We've got where you meet the ball in relationship to your body. So we want to have performed most of the swing, and then we're just basically throwing the racket at the ball. We've done all of the hard work, and now we're fairly relaxed through contact. And for that to happen, we need to make contact out in front of the body. So that's all about thinking, when do you start the swing? So when do I start my forward swing? The ball is bouncing, so on the flight of this ball, the ball's bouncing, and it's about there. You can see that I'm about to start throwing this hip forwards to really initiate the swing. So that's what's creating the timing in terms of the contact point. But then you've also got to think about the timing and the sequencing of the kinetic chain. Like, this is the key piece, getting these both together. So you've got to have the preparation, but then it's about sequencing the kinetic chain. So as part of that preparation, you can see the pelvis is pointing to the side, the upper body is pointing to the side. So I've got a reasonable preparation, but it's then driving through this back hip. So here I've loaded this leg. I'm about to throw the hip forwards to start the swing. As I do that, or just after I do that, my hip kicks in, my torso starts to rotate. That pulls my arm forwards. And as my arm gets pulled forwards, the racket lags behind. So that's what creates the racket lag. But this has also created a stretch in my chest. It's created a stretch in my forearm. And now your body effectively turns into a whip. And then we're whipping and using the elastic in the muscles. And all the work is done by there. And it's from there forwards that you're kind of throwing the racket into contact. So that's the kind of the game that we play, is trying to set up in the right position to be able to load through your back or outside hip and then initiate your swing and sequence the kinetic chain effectively. Now let's take a look at the deeper ball, and you'll see that it's a very different footwork pattern. So again, Early ball recognition is going to be key. I did a pretty good job on this one. I got back nice and early. So the thing that's going to be really important here is loading this back or outside leg, because that's what initiates the swing. That's what I've got to drive through. So I have to get that loaded in time in relationship to the flight of the ball, because if I don't do that, you can't push off in time and you end up being late on the shot. But here I did a good job. I got loaded on the outside leg. Nice loading there. My pelvis is pointing to the side. I've got a good upper body rotation. You can see my racket is higher. So on the lower ball, I prepared lower. My racket was lower because this is going to be a higher bouncing ball. My preparation is higher. But then I'm going to be throwing this hip forwards to initiate the swing. And then it's the same game. It's can you throw the hip forwards at the right time so the hip starts to move, the torso starts to move, the arm starts to move. That pulls the racket into the lag position. Lag position is finished there. But now the key piece here is going to be the footwork pattern. I'm doing a two-legged pivot. So both feet are kind of leaving the ground a little bit, but just because I've got to get my pelvis around, like we've got to get the pelvis to rotate, because of that we have to do something with the feet. And here both legs are going around. So you can see that my right leg pivots around and my left leg pivots around. So that's a two-legged pivot, and the idea is that that then allows you to bring the body around and bring the racket around. So here's the next one. Again, driving through that back or outside hip. You can see the right leg is lifting up as a counter, the left leg is coming around. So both legs are pivoting together. So this is a footwork pattern that most people don't tend to practice as much, but it's a really important pattern to practice on these deep balls. Okay, so that's the footwork and the timing, which are the two things that I consider to be the most important about the technique. So you can go away and start to work on those and incorporate them within your practice. But realistically, the thing that limits most players and holds them back is the visual side of things. It's not being able to read the flight of the ball quickly enough and accurately enough so that you can either move forwards or move back, and also so that you can time and start your swing at the right time to get good timing. The good news though is you can actually train and improve how your visual system functions. By doing that, you'll be able to read the ball more quickly and it will improve your timing. And that's one of the things that I explain within that training class that I mentioned earlier, because one of the big things that I do, obviously I structure my practice in a certain way on the court, but I also do brain-based training off the court, and that's how I've been able to get to this level with my left hand. So just a reminder that that free class is down in the description if you're interested in checking that out. Otherwise, I hope you have found the video to be useful. If you have any questions about the technique, the footwork, or anything that I've kind of covered here today, leave it in the comment section. I'll try and get back to you as quick as I can. If you did enjoy the video and find it helpful, it'd be much appreciated if you give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, it really helps me out if you could do that as well. Okay, I'll catch you next time.